because I'm going to wrap it out anyway. See what goes on in the sports world today. See if I get any action. See who's alive and really to talk brief amount of football in this short span before they tee it up in KC. Man, things I go through. Get it all worked out one day. All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall on this divisional round Saturday. Got a little rain brewing, talking about some rain coming through the area down here in Florida. They're even talking a wintry blast coming through by Wednesday. They're talking about closing the schools and pretty much shutting the town down. That may happen, may even get a little bit of snow, but I doubt it. But that's Wednesday. A lot's going to take place between now and then. We're going to have 4 divisional round playoff games plus the CFB championship game on Monday night. But we kick it all off tonight or today with the Chiefs hosting the Texans in the divisional round. The question is, how rusty will the Chiefs be? They set all their players pretty much out against the the Broncos that last week of the regular season, knowing that they already had the top seed sold up. They didn't play last week, and now they get the Texans coming in, who happened to knock off the Chargers unexpectedly last week in Houston. Chargers seem to be looking like they were going to control the game. Then all of a sudden, a rash of turnovers switched the whole game around. So that allowed the Texans to get by the Chargers, but it was all based on a lot of turnovers. A lot of things went their way in that rash of time that allowed the Texans to jump ahead, and they held on to win the game. But now that you have the Chiefs in town, you can't expect the same kind of fortune to go your way at the right time against the champs. Or is that what it's going to take to beat a team like Kansas City? History has shown us that rust, while it may play some part, it don't last a whole lot. By the first quarter, the Chiefs should be hitting on all cylinders, and they should be able to get away from the Texans. But if they come out rusty, when I say rusty, I'm talking about like the Oregon Ducks were a little bit rusty. It took them all the way back to the beginning of the season kind of rusty, and by the time they got uncorked, they were already down 34 points. I don't ever see the case where the Chiefs would be in that situation, but it's quite possible. All right, let's see what's going on. Bobby, how you doing? Brooks Black Clover says, yo. Lanky Box says, hi, boredom. Can you do the thug shake? Can you? Come on my show talking crazy. What do you guys think about the Chiefs today, man? Are they going to show up? Are they going to be rusty? Are they in line to be upset by the Texans? A lot of people don't think so. I don't think so either. It should be a pretty good game for at least a half. But then again, you know how Kansas City has a way of making things interesting. They'll let a team hang around by making a lot of mistakes, and they'll find a way to pull away a little later. A lot of people attribute that to rust, but you would think that Kansas City, of all people, would have that down by now. Over the last 6-7 years, they've pretty much been in a high-profile situation, and you know how to handle these games. But it should be interesting. But Whitney Coleman says, H-Town finna shock the world. Tell me, Mr. Coleman, how do you think, or why do you feel like H-Town is about to shock the world? You're going to be able to run the football and control the clock? You're going to put some heat on Mahomes? Are the Chiefs going to turn the ball over? Tell me, just how do you think the Texans are going to be able to get by the Chiefs and, by circumstance, the officials? Because you know the league is not going to let the Chiefs go out in the divisional round. So you're going to have to come out and thoroughly dominate them, or otherwise the Texans are going to be going back home. You know it and I know it. Everybody's pointing toward a Baltimore or Buffalo matchup with the Chiefs next week in KC. That's what the world wants to see. Baltimore's in their best position to probably get by the Chiefs. Can they do it? I don't know. But first they got to get by Buffalo. But that's tomorrow. But like Coleman says, it's very possible. Once you go to the playoffs, everybody is 0-0. It's not their fault that if Kansas City comes out and turns the ball over. Mixon, what Coleman says, Mixon is going to run the football and not going to turn it over. That's what it's going to take. You're going to have to turn Kansas City over, and you're going to have to play a perfect game. If you do that, and Stroud hits some timely passes, you got a real good shot of knocking off the Chiefs. But like I say, they got to get past the Chiefs and the officials. So if they can do that, that'll be a win well deserved. Now, in the later game, a lot of people aren't giving the Commanders much of a chance either. They're going to Detroit. And Detroit, that number one seed, first time they ever had a number one seed, going all the way back to the 50s when they had Joe Schmidt, and they won the 2 championships they do have in franchise history. Detroit hasn't done a whole lot, especially against Washington. You know, Detroit finally beat Washington, beat the Redskins in Washington after 74 years. They had never beaten the Redskins there. They beat them when they were the Redskins in Boston back in '35. Then they went all that long time without winning a game in D.C. Now they've beaten Washington in Detroit. So it's probably best that the game is in Detroit for the Lions to have a chance, because it's almost like a house of horrors. Kind of like when the Colts come to Jacksonville. They just seem to be cursed. There's some events that led up to that kind of thing, but they can't seem to win down here in Jacksonville. Now, Coleman's going out on a limb. He got the Commanders, too. I tell you what, man, you put a little bit of money down on those 2 teams, and they come through, you straight. But you got to take a chance and feel it and go for it. I don't know if you in the betting. I'm not really in the betting either, but, you know, I know a lot of people winning a lot of money these days betting on these long shots like the Commanders and the Texans, and it'd be an opportunity for you to make some money. So if you really feel that way, put $1 or 2 down, man. You might come up. You're laughing. But Detroit should be able to handle Washington because they have the defense. They showed you how to slow down Minnesota, and the Rams kind of took that blueprint and expanded on it a little bit, and they were able to get rid of the Vikings. Washington presents a different kind of problem. They have that running quarterback, and if they can't get going through the passing game, he's going to run around and hit some timely passes. You got to stop him from doing that by keeping him in the pocket. And I think Detroit has the personnel to be able to do that. You know, they got Anzalone back, and what's the guy, the defensive end they got out of Michigan. I think he's going to be coming back soon also. So they're getting their pieces back at the right time, and that's going to be a hard team for them to knock off. Washington got to control the clock and not get in the shootout. Yeah, that's what all underdogs have to do, and the Texans are going to have to do the same thing. And it's not impossible to do. I've seen upsets occur in major sports all the time. So do the Texans believe? Do the Commanders believe? And if they do, they're going to show up with nobody expecting them to win, and all the pressure is going to switch to the home team that's supposed to win as the game gets late. And a lot of teams get tight when that happens. We've seen that happen from some of the teams in the playoffs. I don't want to say anything right now. We'll say my comments for tomorrow. So they're already pinpointing you to what I might say. But, yeah, I like to see upsets, and there's nothing better that I like in the world than a team that goes on the road and wins a game. You're supposed to win when you're at home. I don't care what level you're on. But road teams, they got the other team to deal with, and you got all those fans screaming down on you. And I think the greatest thing in the world is for a team to come into an environment like that and knock off the home team. I live for that kind of stuff. And it's great to see it when it actually happens on TV. I know I wasn't expecting too many people to pop in today, but you guys did pop in. Like and subscribe, man. We talk a little football, a little bit longer at a different time. I'll try to get on a little early tomorrow, but I got to do a little basketball. So if you guys into a little basketball segue before the Commanders game come on tonight, I'm going to run a little live basketball right about 7 o'clock. So if you're interested in that, high school basketball, tune into this channel, man, and just let it play. You never know what you might see on the high school level. Somebody might make a play. And I'm trying to promote this little team I'm with, and they've been doing better lately. Got knocked off last night, but the team they lost to last night, They only lost 2 games all year. So they were very sound, and they made the key shots when they had to get them. And that's why they 17-2 at this point. So we should bounce back tonight. Very key game because it's a district game. And should get back well tonight. It'll be great to see. But yeah, I just wanted to come in and feel a pulse about what the fans thought about this Chiefs team. I think the NFL, the way they do it, the teams don't sit around too long when they have a bye. Unlike what we saw with college, 3-4 weeks is too long to sit around waiting on a game when you were in a rhythm. And you just point to Oregon to see what I mean by that. They just didn't look like the same team at all when they got back on the field after a 4-week absence. But NFL, 2 weeks, you're only missing 1 game. And the Chiefs, they set the guys on purpose, but that doesn't mean they didn't prep all the way up to the season, so to that final game. So I think the Chiefs should be ready to play. It might take them a series or 2 to get going, but they're favored to win this game. And I think in the end, they're probably going to pull away. So that's my prediction. And tonight, I think Detroit is going to take care of Washington, and that's going to set up those showdowns that we're looking for next week. But the big game of the weekend, that comes tomorrow night when you have Buffalo taking on Baltimore up in New York. And the other game you have the Rams playing the Eagles. Rams have done it to the Eagles before in the playoffs in Philadelphia, and they got a great shot to do it again. So until then, I'll come back on tomorrow and catch you guys later, and we talk a little bit of Bills and Ravens, Eagles and Rams. So enjoy the game. I'll catch you guys on the other side. This is Sports for Real. I'm out.